I'm Will Carr, and I'm here to fire you up. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Will Carr. This is the Will Carr Speaks podcast. I've got Abe Sanchez here of Genesis Fighting Academy and Team Underground down in Colorado Springs as well. Abe is an amateur MMA fighter. He's got his first 2 fights under his belt. He's 2-0, both first round finishes. And yeah, so we're just going to kind of get into talk about fighting today and just kind of your journey in the fighting world. And so just to get started, do you want to, introduce yourself or say anything about yourself?
Yeah, name is Abe Sanchez. I'm a fighter here in Genesis Fight Team, Team Underground from Colorado Springs. Just love fighting, it's an awesome game. Just trying to work my way up to the UFC, just take it slowly. Work my way up, yeah.
So tell me, you say you love fighting.
Yes,
like why?
yes.
What gave you the love to fight?
And ever since they just put me in front of the screen watching UFC when I was a kid, I just knew in my heart that that's what I wanted to do. That's the one thing I wanted to do. And I had certain people telling me not to, telling me to make different choices. And there was a certain day in high school, I just made a choice. This is what I wanted to do, and I kind of stuck with it since then.
Yeah. So when you were in high school and you made that choice, like what? Obviously, you didn't start doing MMA in high school.
No.
Tell me how did that journey begin?
Yeah. So I grew up wrestling.
Okay.
And grew up in Wisconsin. Pretty dominant wrestling scene out there. And there was one day, I've always wanted to get into a fighting gym, but where I lived locally, there was no gyms within like a more than an hour and a half drive. And so I moved locations, and there finally became a gym close enough. And I had my car, I had a license. I was finally able to make the commitment, and I just showed up one day. They asked if I wanted to come back or watch a class or anything. I'm like, no, just joined the class, and ever since then I've just been showing up.
Yeah. So how many years have you been here at Genesis?
I've been here at Genesis since last year in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then and how many years have you been fighting in a fighting gym?
In a fighting gym, I'd say about 3 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the biggest transition? I mean, other than accepting that you might get punched in the face.
Right.
Tell me from a training standpoint, what did you really change when you went from, just wrestling to getting into more MMA stuff?
Yeah. I would say just the rules. The rules are all fundamentally different.
Okay.
It's you grow up training one discipline, and you're disciplined for that sport. And so when you have to start breaking certain habits that you've enforced in your body for years, it gets kind of hard. And it's all right, you have to keep your hands up. You can't wrestle. You wrestle with your hands down. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to stand straight up, put your hips there. You can't do that in wrestling. And so just getting used to all the different movements and rules you have to break.
Yep.
For those that you set in yourself, especially when you start young.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel that, man. Whenever you're changing any type of disciplines, there's always little intricacies that are completely different. And so
certain things, absolutely. It's your hip being here instead of there, or your foot positioning 1 inch back instead of an inch forward. It's just crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's probably so much of that little stuff that people don't even think about. We're watching UFC on the big screen. We don't think of, we probably just think people go into the gym and they just practice how to punch each other, but it's so much more than that.
There's so much. It's years of accumulation of habits and being strict with yourself, and little things when you shoot for a shot, you grab the wrong way, you turn a certain way. You have to drill it in yourself to not turn that certain way. You have to drill it in your stance, keeping your hands up, keeping your legs the perfect width apart. And it's you have to drill that, and that's fundamental. That's before even fighting comes in the game.
Right.
It's if you're not doing those things, then that's where you see these people get executed on pretty quickly.
Yeah. And that you feel here at Genesis, they do a really good job of teaching you all the different fundamentals.
Definitely, yeah. Jake will walk around. If he sees anything out of place, he'll give you a quick reminder, hey, put your chin down, put your arms up, let me see you bounce around a little more. Just constant reminders, never letting you really get complacent in the gym.
Yeah. What do you find, what personally, What do you find yourself getting complacent about anything ever?
Yeah, sometimes you get tired. You get tired and you find a flow, and you're not always supposed to. Sometimes you have to stay on edge, stay bouncing, and it's really easy. They call it kind of just fading back. It's really easy to just fade back and stay in one rhythm, but it's like playing a drum. You can't just sit there and tap the same rhythm the whole time. You gotta keep it, bouncing and flowing.
Mm-hmm. And what, like, talk about rhythm. Like, how much are you? I mean, are you conscious about trying to change up your rhythm? Like, is that a thing you think about when you're fighting, or?
Yeah, I think of it like it's like a song. It's like a dance. You get out of rhythm and you just go straight back to it.
Yeah.
You want to play the song till you get to the climax, or till you get to the
Yeah.
finish. And whether that's a choke or a knockout, or maybe you just play the song the whole time, right?
Yeah.
It's just like sticking to the rhythm, but it's not the exact same rhythm. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah. And what, like, so, you grow up, you're wrestling, and you love wrestling. You're idolizing the UFCs. You watch
Yes,
probably,
absolutely, yes.
all the UFC as a young kid, and you're
Mhm.
watching these guys fighting on screen. Like, what what is like a real, like, I don't want to say this. What's the motivation behind, just because you could be a great wrestler, or you could be great at just practicing boxing, or like, what really makes you want to put all that together? Because you can do anything in life. Like, why this?
It's just as simple as I've always been a violent kid.
Okay.
I've always just liked fighting, and the full freedom to express myself.
Yeah.
When back to wrestling, when I was talking about rules, it's like you're very strict. They'll keep you on the mat. If your arm is even a centimeter up on their arm when you're in referee's position, they'll call it off, make you get off, go back on. In MMA, it's pure chaos. It's
Yeah.
like pure freedom in the chaos, pure ability to express yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I like most about it. You don't have to stick to the constraints of like boxing. You have to keep your feet planted, stay on the ground, or kickboxing, you have to keep your legs bouncing and ready. In MMA, you can do anything and everything, and that's what I like about it. It gives you the ability to fully express yourself.
Yeah. You said you liked fighting growing. Did you get into a lot of fights as a kid?
I got into so many fights, so many. Yeah, one time this dude, he's attacked my sister's lemonade stand and just whooped on him, and the cops came to my house. They tried telling my parents. They actually told him like your son's a badass, and they told my parents that, and they couldn't charge me at the time because I was so young. I was like 9 at the
Yeah.
time.
Wow.
And, yeah, no, I grew up fighting. I was a sixth grader, challenging eighth graders in the field. And be
Yeah.
like, meet me at wherever. And, coming home showing my mom videos. She'd be like
Yeah.
mortified and happy at the same time that I didn't lose.
Yeah, she's like proud of you, but also like,
yeah.
no.
She's like, oh, yeah.
So did you get in trouble at school a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So back to the moment when I decided to start training MMA, there was a time where someone had said a racial remark to one of my good friends.
Okay.
And I'd just been coming out of gym class. I was pumping weight, feeling all hot and stuff. And I walk up to him and I just asked him about it. One thing leads to the next, and I'm beating him up. And yeah, I broke his face and gave him a couple stitches and almost got into really serious legal ramifications.
Wow.
And so it made me understand, like, I do really like fighting and I want to put myself out there, but I can't just beat people up on the street.
You can't just go whoop up on
Yeah,
anyone.
it's more fun when there's someone else who wants to beat you up, and
Yeah.
you know that, and so you go beat them up because it's like, it's mutual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mutual. I mean, it's mutually agreed upon.
Right.
Like,
right.
And that's what everyone's there for. Like,
Exactly.
you're taking the chance. Like,
Yeah.
you might get rocked.
Right. Exactly.
But you get the chance to rock someone else.
And that's it's like the fun part. People always ask, why are you fighting? It's like, that's why. It's the game of 50-50. You could win, I could win. You never know. That's the fun part about finding out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the ultimate test.
Yeah.
It goes back to our very barbaric roots.
Exactly.
Of, like, who we were,
Right.
as a civilization centuries and millennia ago.
Right. There's always been some type of prize fighting, some type of fighter throughout history, whether it's, wrestling, whether it's the Greeks doing pancration, you know, whatever it is, there's always been some type of fight with a crowd watching, and the people just love to see it, and the fighters love to fight, and so you know, it's generational. It's just feels like it's my spot.
Yeah,
in
I love
time,
it.
you know.
Yeah, I love it, man. So what's it going to take for you to get from, you know, being an amateur to considering yourself a pro?
Just continuing to show up, you know, continuing to dominate my fights, win, and then when coaches say it's time, you know, it's probably about time. It's not necessarily my choice to say when I'm a pro or not.
Yeah.
You know, when they look at me and say, "Nah, dude, you can't take any more amateur fights." That's when it's time to go pro. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. I mean, eventually, if you keep submitting people in the first round, you know, they're not going to let you keep doing amateur fights much longer.
And eventually, people just aren't going to accept fights.
Right.
And that's what happens a lot, where no one accepts it, and so it's like, all right, now we go pro.
Yeah. So other than, because obviously the goal is going to be for you to go pro and be able to, you know, be a pro fighter. What are your next goal, or what are your goals in the next 2-3 years? Like, where do you see yourself, you know, being as a fighter? 2
to 3 years. Just, I want to take the path how I've seen a lot of the greats do it, and just really take my time to develop and cement my skill.
Yeah.
You know, this is like I'm taking a Muay Thai fight in March.
Cool.
And just really putting myself out there these next few years. Obviously, would love to go undefeated. That'd be the main goal in MMA. You know, 6-0, 7-0. Hopefully we go pro from there. Want to win a couple Muay Thai fights, maybe even like a boxing fight if I could arrange that. But I think that'd be the big goal, just to really put myself out there as much as I can, and take this time to really cement my skills before going pro.
Yeah. When you talk about the different fighting modalities having different rules, as we were talking about earlier, Muay Thai, is that what you said you're about to do? Muay Thai
yes,
fight?
Yes.
Okay, what are the rules for that? How is that different than MMA?
Yeah, MMA, so mixed martial arts, right? You're mixing all the martial arts, and Muay Thai it's from Thailand. It's a very beautiful sport, very traditional, and it's one of my favorite sports to watch.
Okay.
But it's heavy on the clinch game, you know, very, very favored in kicks and striking, but it's a very like performative sport. You know, they love these big sweeps, these big kicks. You know, if you can dominate over someone's will and just like get behind them, start pushing them around, you know, that's what they love, and that's why I'm real excited to just go in there and have a fight, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. This was super fun, you know, just getting to learn kind of about who you are and you know, the different types of fighting and stuff that you do. I mean, to wrap up, is there anything that you want to share or just add, you know, before we close out, maybe about your life, or about, you know, any things that you've learned, or kind of, you know, mindset that you have? Yeah,
just keep a lookout for our team. You know, we're all going to be continuing to do our thing, continuing to win. And I'm just excited to go into this next new year and keep showing up, being consistent. Other than that, just keep an eye out. That's all I got to say.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, they're definitely no joke here at the Genesis Fighting Academy. And if you want to watch some real fighters that are going to give it their absolute best and have put in the thousands of hours, if not tens of thousands of hours, to develop their craft and get good at what they're doing, Genesis Fighting Academy is where it's at. So,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that said, man, great talking to you.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
I'm Will Carr, and I'm here to fire you up.